Big day in Group C of the Asian World Cup qualifiers as Japan sealed qualification with their win against Bahrain. Even if they weren't the greatest, they got the job done. The amount of depth that national team has is crazy. And then they were pretty poor against Saudi Arabia. I thought in the first half, in that Saudi game, they could have scored, but otherwise it was not that great. But Japan, I don't think they'll care much. I think they're looking at the World Cup, and they made it pretty comfortably, I think, in this group. They were just far better than most teams. Australia, they got 6 points this window, but I was still left very unconvinced of them. I thought against Indonesia, if Indonesia scored that penalty, who knows, could be a very different game. And I think Australia, they weren't like creating chances all the time. It was pretty stale to watch them at times in this window. But personally, they can defend. They defended really well against both Indonesia and against China. But the attack leaves me a lot to be desired about. But honestly, if I'm an Australian, I'm not complaining. They gained the results. They got 6 points this window, which puts them in a very, very good stead to get into those, qualifying, will get them qualified for the World Cup. Saudi Arabia are their nearest challengers at the moment. They got a big win against China. They got a draw against Japan after that. I think that was a good window for Saudi Arabia and Herb Renard. They got what they wanted, in my opinion. They targeted 4 points. They got 4 points. Japan away, you're not going to get anything more than a draw, personally. So I think it was a good result. Even if they played with their luck a bit. Against China, though, I thought it was a lot more better. They were the better team by far. They played better football. And they deserved to win. And personally, I think it is between Saudi Arabia and now Australia for that second spot. Australia on 13, Saudi Arabia on 10. So Saudi Arabia will need to win most likely both of their games and hope that Australia lose to Japan. And then I think it will be Australia with Saudi Arabia on the final match day of this group. Indonesia beat Bahrain in a very good manner. They played really, really well against Bahrain, and I think Patrick Kluivert will be really happy. Many Indonesian fans weren't happy when they saw Shin Tae-yong sacked, but I thought Kluivert has come in 2 games. He actually done well. I think they lost to Australia 5-1, but I think even that game, they played well. They weren't bad, and against Bahrain, I thought they proved everyone wrong, and I think they played well. It was a big result for Indonesia. It gives them that comfort they need. They got 3 points clear in that 4th spot, and then they got China at home. If they beat China, they'll make round 4 as well. China, 0 points, and they went back to World Cup qualifying setting. They were really, really poor, and they just didn't look good enough, in my opinion, in this group, personally. And it just, against Australia, beatable Australia, I expected much more from China, but they got 2 winnable games in Indonesia away, Bahrain at home. If they do win both of those, they will be in the World Cup qualifying playoff from round 4. And Bahrain, finally, they just looked tired. They looked lost. They were poor, I think, for most of this round. They were really, really sluggish against Indonesia, and that showed. And now they got Saudi Arabia, who are in form, and now they got to play China away, which is not easy at all. So not looking great.